Alright, fellow browncoats, time for the final episode of Read the Day, which is The Message. The show opens on a space station, and a Barker extolling an exhibit featuring proof of alien life. Inside the exhibit, Simon and Kaylee stare at a tall, illuminated cylinder that holds a strange and apparently dead creature. The doctor declares that it is a mutated cow fetus, not an alien. Simon uses his moment alone with the engineer to attempt to get closer to her. When he mentions that the other women he knows are either married, professional, or related to him, Kaylee leaves in a huff. As Kaylee departs, Zoe and Wash console Simon. Back at the concourse, Anara tries to convince Mal to let her help fence the Lassiter they stole, but Mal insists on keeping her out of that side of the business. He then checks in with the station postmaster, who passes 2 packages along with Serenity's mail. Jane arrives to find that his mother has sent him a home-knitted cap, and he proudly dons it. The others observe the headgear with the mixture of amusement and sarcasm. The other item shipped is a huge crate addressed to Mal and Zoe. They open it to discover a dead body, the corpse of Private Tracy Smith. 7 years earlier, at the Battle of Dukan, the young Private Tracy calmly prepares a meal behind cover, not knowing a light soldier sneaking up on him. Just as the latter is about to shoot, Zoe appears behind him and cuts his throat. While she lectures the boy about not giving away his position, Mal comes running in, firing his gun and screaming loudly. Tracy is injured when the Alliance fires on their position, and Mal and Zoe grab Tracy and their shell-shocked lieutenant and bug out with the rest of their unit. Back in the present, the 2 ex-soldiers puzzle over the decently preserved corpse of their former comrade. Hung in the box aboard Serenity, they find a recorded message from Tracy. He apparently anticipated some trouble with some unsavory associates and asked them to ship his body home, St. Albans. Finishing the message with an old saying from the war. When you can't run anymore, you crawl. When you can't do that, well, yeah, you know the rest. Back on the station, 2 Alliance marshals and their commander, Lieutenant Womack, threaten the postmaster into telling them where to find Tracy's coffin. In the common room, Mal and Zoe entertain Anara with a hilarious tale about Tracy's antics during the war. Suddenly, the ship is shaken by a warning shot from an Alliance craft. Womack hails them and demands support Serenity. The crew first think that Womack is after the Lassiter, but when Womack mentions that crate, Mal realizes he's really after Tracy's box. This stalls for the time while they take apart the crate to discover what secrets it might contain. Finding nothing, they have Simon to conduct an autopsy, but the doctor's first incision causes the dead man to leap up and attack him. It turns out he'd taken a drug that put him in a temporary coma. After he calms down, Tracy confesses he is smuggling illegally grown internal organs. He was supposed to deliver the implanted organs to buyers on Ariel, but he got higher bid and betrayed his clients. Unfortunately for him, the original buyers killed his new customer and are now after their stolen merchandise. After more warning shots, Mal and Wash steer Serenity onto St. Albans' surface trying to shake Womack, but are soon cornered. Book does some checking their Alliance pursuers, and after thinking it over, he recommends to Mal that they allow Womack to board the ship. Tracy overhears some of this conversation and pulls a gun on the crew. An annoyed Mal orders Wash to call Womack. As Tracy fires at Wash, Zoe shoots him in the chest, injuring him but not killing him. Tracy then tries to take Kaylee hostage, but the crew distracts him and Mal manages to shoot him a second time. Womack and his men enter the cargo bay only to be confronted by Book, who explains that Womack and his men are corrupt officers involved in criminal activity and will not be missed if his friends killed them. Womack decides to depart, dismissing Tracy as damaged goods. Tracy belatedly realizes that Book's confrontation was part of a plan, one that his own impulsiveness ruined. Mortally wounded, he asks Mal and Zoe to deliver him home this time. They agree, finishing the earlier saying, "When you can't crawl anymore, you find someone to carry you." Excerpts from Tracy's message can be heard as the crew of Serenity solemnly return their fallen soldier to his grieving family. Aww. So now let's take a look at some production notes about this episode. The Message was the last Firefly episode filmed, by which time the cast and crew knew the show had been cancelled. The final scene, in which Serenity's crew returned Tracy's body to his family, marking the end to the former soldiers' journeys, therefore had an extra poignancy for them. Greg Edmondson, composer for the show, wrote the musical piece that is heard when Tracy's return to his family not only as a farewell to Tracy, but as a farewell to the series itself. Kaylee has expressed romantic interest in two men thus far, Simon and Tracy, who have threatened her life. Simon refused to trade her gunshot wound unless he protected River from the Alliance and Serenity, although Kaylee believed he was bluffing. And in this episode, Tracy held her at gunpoint. Joss Whedon rarely observes in the DVD commentaries that threatening Kaylee became a formula for drama, one he admitted using in early Buffy episodes, in which he would put Willow in danger to win over the viewers. In the DVD commentary for the episode, a joke is made at how the Postmaster is apparently the only Jew in space, calling him a Space Jew or Spajew for short. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but whatever. So overall, this episode is actually pretty dang decent, and yeah, it is kind of a shame what happened to Tracy at the end, so yeah. So overall, I give The Message 5 Fireflies out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in tomorrow as we tackle the next episode, Heart of Gold. So until then, remember everyone, you can't take the sky from me.